It's public now, Chair. You could start.
Oh. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our online meeting, Kingston Standing Advisory Council for Religious Education, SACRE. I am Charmaine Lee, and I am chairing this meeting. This meeting is being filmed live, a live broadcast on the Council's YouTube channel, and it will be archived should you wish to view the meeting at a later date. The agenda is also available on the Council's website following the links Your Council meeting calendar. This meeting is now quorate, and that means that we should have one member the quorum for the meeting is 1/4 of the total members, excluding any co-op members, subject to one member of each representative group being present. And I can confirm that the meeting is now quorate. Just a bit of housekeeping. Members can indicate that they wish to speak using the chat function. Please do not use the chat function to ask questions of the officers and members, and remember that all meeting participants on the video call will be able to see what's in the chat. May we ask that you turn off your mobile phones or keep them on silent during the meeting. Now, as we're all here, I once again just say welcome to everyone, and if we could just, in the tradition of Kingston SACRE, we just take a moment to reflect in the quietness. Thank you. I will start this meeting by inviting members to introduce themselves. If we start with, shall we start with Group A? Shall I call out names?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't mind, I think it'd be easier if I call out names. Rachel Leverhawk, would you like to introduce yourself? Rachel is from Kingston and Surbiton District Synagogue. I know you had some issues with sound, Rachel. Sorry. Did you?
Yeah, Rachel Leventhal from, hello everyone. Rachel Leventhal from Kingston Synagogue, Kingston United.
Thank you. Kieran Wood.
Can you hear me? Because I can hear you, but I'm getting you sort of ×3.
Okay. Okay, not to worry for the moment, Rachel.
Okay.
Karen, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Karen. I work for Insight, and I'm the representative for the local evangelical churches.
Thank you. Greta.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're keeping well. I'm Greta Sarin, representative of Humanist UK.
Can I just see the list? Oh. And may I ask Rachel Phillips?
Good evening, everyone. Rachel Phillips from the Southwark Diocesan Board of Education.
Thank you. From the next group, sorry, Jennifer Rickards.
Hi, I'm Jen Rickards. I'm a teacher at Malden Manor Primary School, and I've been on the SACRE for many years now. So hi from me.
And Sharma Khan, please.
Hi, I'm Sharma, and I'm also a teacher at Kings Oak Primary School.
Thank you. Alison Holt.
Good evening. I'm Councillor Alison Holt. I represent Surbiton Hill Ward, and I'm also Deputy Leader of the Council.
Thank you. Thank you. Could I have Councillor George?
Hi, Ian George, councillor for Coombe Hill Ward.
Thank you very much. Simon Birch?
Hi everyone, I'm Simon. I'm here on behalf of the local Baha'i community. I've been on this SACRE since 2005. I can't believe that's 20 years. Unbelievable.
And thank you, Simon. Tim, please.
Hello, a big apologies. I was sitting in a room all on my own for 15 minutes. So yeah, apologies for that. So hopefully I don't get detention. So I'm Tim. I'm representing Insights in Kingston, secondary worker within that organisation. So Insight in Kingston, and I've been on SACRE on and off for about 18 years. Took us 7 years away, but yeah.
Thank you. Ian, please.
Yeah, I'm Ian Nicholson, National RE Advisor with RE today, supporting the Kingston SACRE as the RE Advisor.
Thank you very much. And Helena.
Hi everyone, evening. My name is Helena Moore and I am the Curriculum Development Advisor at AFC, so I'm representing Achieving for Children.
Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to particularly welcome Councillor Alison Holt, who has been appointed the local education authority in May. So welcome, Alison. Apologies of absences. Herman.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Jackie Davis and Mrs. Jane Whittington.
Okay, thank you very much. On item 2, members are asked to declare any disclosures, any conflict of interest, etc., with relevance to the agenda items. Do any members have any declaration of interest, please?
No.
Nope. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, which is the minutes. The minutes of the meeting were held on the 18th of November last year and have been circulated to members on the 20th of June this year. Do members agree to confirm the minutes as correct records? If we just take a moment for you to have a quick peruse of those, please.
Yeah, I would assume that they agree.
Yeah. If you just raise your hand, then I know that you agree with the minutes.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Yeah,
that's agreed. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll sign the minutes now.
Later is okay.
Yeah. Okay, item 4, SACRE membership. The SACRE is asked to note that the current membership of SACRE, as set out in Appendix A in the agenda pack. The only change since the last meeting was the appointment by the local education authority of Alison Holt, replacing Councillor Sue as representative in Group D. I understand that Achieving for Children will report on their progress regarding members' nomination and appoint in agenda item 8. So matters arising from the minutes. In this agenda item, verbal reports are welcome on matters arising from the minutes of the last meeting, which are not covered elsewhere in the agenda. If any members would like to add anything, could you please raise your hand? I think we're okay. We shall move on to item 6. We move on to agenda 6, constitution and working arrangements. Members may refer to Appendix B of the agenda pack, please. Just by way of background, as the last meeting has asked the local authority, Democratic Services, Herman, to take up clerk role and was requested for preparing the updated constitution for the SACRE consideration. The clerk has prepared a report, including a draft updated constitution in Annex 1 for SACRE's approval. May I ask you to have a look at that now, please? In paragraph 3, the clerk reported that he's made reference to the local authority, education authority constitution and other governance arrangements, Richmond SACRE, and other relevant statutes and government guidelines, including the SACRE. A summary of the constitutional parts is at paragraph 4, and the clerk proposes that the operations of the constitution to be reviewed and brought back in 2 years' time. He's also set out the relevant working arrangements for SACRE to note. I will now move from the chair the following recommendations on page B1 for you to have a look at, please. Does anybody want to make any comments whilst you're reading that at this moment? So I think if we're happy with what we can see and we wish to go ahead, may I have a seconder for that, please? If you're happy with the constitution, have I got a seconder? Yeah.
He may not be able to second. You need a full member.
Jane Rickards, teacher, has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So it's second.
Yeah. So that is agreed. Thank you very much.
So we have to confirm whether they agree unanimously.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Do we agree unanimously? If you could just raise your hand to indicate. Yeah. 2, 3.
Yeah, this unanimously. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, that's an unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience there. I shall now move to item 7.
I was just thinking if Miss Richards, does she?
Yeah, she does.
I mean, does she have anything to raise?
No,
She's
she was
not
just
putting down-
agreeing.
Okay.
She was just agreeing.
Down the
Okay.
overall. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if we move to item 7, the annual report 23-24. If we refer to Appendix C in the agenda pack, may I ask Ian Nicholson, RE Today's consultant, to briefly introduce the report, please? Thank you.
Mr. Nicholson, you are muted.
There you go.
Yes, good. Thank you.
So, as required by the 1996 Education Act, every SACRE must publish an annual report of the work it's done at the end of every academic year. That then goes forward to the DFE and to NASACRE as well. They are required to hold those on behalf of SACREs as public documents of the work that's been undertaken. So in the agenda pack that was sent out, you'll see, as I say, as was said, under Annex C, Appendix C, we have the Kingston-upon-Thames annual report. We have the introduction by the chair. We also have an overview of the 2021 census, which therefore also links directly to the most up-to-date Kingston-upon-Thames agreed syllabus, which was adopted in 2023. So that is ensuring that people are aware of the background to those ones. We've also mentioned within the annual report is the idea of the agreed syllabus, that because it was adopted in 2023, it's not due for renewal until 2028. So it is a comment that's made that actually that members of an agreed syllabus conference from committees A, B and C may request an agreed syllabus conference at any time. However, that's not been the case. So by including the point on page C5, indicating that actually the current agreed syllabus is seen as fit for purpose for maintained schools in the borough and for academies who wish to teach it as well. We've also got within the report standards in RE, so looking at what actually has happened during the SACRE meetings over the past year. One of the duties of SACRE is to monitor standards in RE and to be aware of what's going on in RE in schools. So the inclusion of this matter fulfills the statutory requirement of a SACRE to monitor standards within the local authority, and also an outline there of the training that's been given to schools and to teachers in the schools on the 3 areas of the Ofsted report, Dharmic faith, and spiritual, moral, social and cultural development. We are required by legislation to comment on any complaints about either RE or collective worship in terms of determinations or complaints. And as has been outlined in the report, the SACRE have had no complaints in the academic year to which the report links. Within page C7, we talk about the idea of being linked between the SACRE of the Kingston upon Thames being part of NASACRE, the National Association of SACREs, and also part of the National Association of Teachers of RE, who I represent as well. We put in there as well the idea of the SACRE amendments or arrangements that are held on page C7, but also we talk about the changes within the SACRE on C8, so that we're able to show to NASACRE and the DFE that it is a SACRE that is functioning and is meeting its requirement to meet as per the Constitution, and also around the idea of funding. There's a section on the Kingston SACRE Award for RE, and then as well, just a final comment around REQM there. We also included there as well the idea of actually outlining to the DFE and to NASACRE the work of SACRE. So the report has fulfilled its statutory responsibilities. Once the report has been approved by SACRE, it can then go to DFE and is emailed to the ministers at DFE for their notification that the SACRE has, or that the local authority has fulfilled its statutory requirement to, as per legislation, hold a SACRE. That's from the 1988 Education Act, but then subsequently the 1996 Act. And then that is also then made available to schools so that schools are available. So the report contains the statutory requirements that are part of legislation going forward for us to report. But as I say, so hopefully, Chair, that's okay. But everything in there is up to date and as it should be in terms of the annual report.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you. Would any members of the committee like to say anything, have a question for Ian? Karen, sorry.
It's not really a question, just Maria's name is spelt incorrectly on C8. I don't know if that matters. She's Maria at the beginning and Marie partway through.
C8.
C8, page 27 of the documents you've sent out.
It is this one.
Oh, right.
I will correct it in the final version.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Councillor Holt.
Councillor Holt.
I just thank you for the report, and as you know, you've mentioned that I'm first to this. This is my first meeting of SACRE. I just wondered what we were doing about the vacancies, because given that the percentage, particularly we're looking at it of Muslim in our borough, and we've not got anyone representing that community. I just wondered what are we doing to try and get the vacancies filled?
It's for Helena to address that.
Yeah, that's actually going to be addressed, I think, by Helena in the next item. We'll come on to that if we may. So if we could hold for a moment, was there anybody else who had anything to say? Well, then therefore I will say I will now move from the chair the recommendation that Kingston SACRE's annual report 2023-24 as set out in Appendix C of the pack be approved. May I have a seconder, please? Kieran. Can I see a show of hands for unanimous, whether we're all in agreement?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you. It is unanimously agreed.
Chair, do you want to take this chance to talk about the next annual report, to preparation for the next annual report? To remind Mr. Nicholson to prepare for the next report.
We will, I think I'll save that towards
No
the end, if
problem.
I may.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. We'll now move on to item 8. We move on to agenda 8 of Kingston SACRE's update. On this item, we are focusing on institutional matters, including nominations and appointments of members. So if I now ask Helena from AFC to provide us with an update, please, and answering Alison's questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll start to answer your questions, Councillor Holt. I won't get to an answer. I'll give you that insight. But yes, so as I know has been raised previously, and as Ian just referred to through the annual report, there are a number of vacancies within the membership, as well as some queries around making sure that the membership is kind of complete when it comes to the teacher representation that were raised in previous meetings. So we have started with the help of Herman to really get a clear picture about what this looks like and how this membership process works, which is that basically as AFC, as the Director of Children's Services, we write out to invite in kind of nominations, and then they get agreed by the Director of Children's Services to approve those. And so we have started the process of that. So we contacted the teachers within the group to understand what their union membership was, because we identified that listed on Appendix A. I think it's A. Sorry, let me scroll up on my screen. Yeah, they are identified by school, whereas they should be representative of the different unions that we have in England. So we're in the process of that. We've got a couple to chase, including with one teacher on SACRE legitimately being on maternity leave and therefore not checking her emails. And then we will have a clear picture of which unions were represented, where we've got gaps, and then similarly the emails to go out to those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 religious groups identified on Appendix A need to be drafted, and then will be sent out to kind of garner nominations from those communities. But ultimately, that is on my to-do list for when my school-facing to-do list quietens down in about 2 weeks' time when we go on summer holidays. So it's in process. We now have clarity on the process from Herman, which is really, really appreciated. And if you haven't replied to my teacher email, this is a nudge to do so, which would be really welcome. So we've got that information, and hopefully we will then have a more tangible update with some answers and some people in the new academic year.
Thank you very much, Helena, for that. Herman, do you have any updates to add with regards to?
Yes, Chair, thank you. And so to members, this is just a gentle reminder, as the term of the current chair and vice chair will end by the commencement of the annual meeting, which will happen in October or November, I'd like to remind that if any member who wish to be nominated as the next chair or vice chair, please let me know before the annual meeting in October or November, so that I could be prepared for that. So it will be much appreciated. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Does Greta want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Is it okay if I ask a question regarding point 8 that we've just been discussing?
Yes.
I note from the minutes that were in November, I didn't actually attend that meeting, that 3 people from various communities had expressed interest on joining the SACRE. Do we know if any of those people have been contacted since that meeting?
This I'm not sure of, I'm afraid, because with our last meeting and if you like, the reformation after Karen, it's been a little bit difficult. Could you remind me of the names, please?
Yeah, it's on the second page of the agenda. Sorry, the minutes, beg your pardon. Ali Jaffrey from the Shia Muslim community of Kingston. Madhur Hemnani, Hindu representative, and Kent's councillor Thayalan.
Yes, I
Tamil
see.
Community. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking, if those people have already expressed interest, it would be remiss of us not to contact them during the current process.
Yeah. Okay, we will definitely see about chasing those.
Yeah.
Those up.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Chair, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Helena, I think it will be when you are conducting your nomination process, please ensure that the director would also consider whether the 3 names being mentioned. I would also need to highlight that that's a point that was being mentioned is the Korean church that was also mentioned at the last meeting. But I will leave it for AFC to consider which parties to approach and then come back with the nomination process. But just a reminder that these names have been mentioned that you may wish to consider taking into account when you are conducting the research and the nomination process.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Herman.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Sorry, I was remiss to thank Ian for his contributions and putting the report together. So Ian, thank you so much. And also to say that we hope that you will be supporting us next year in the preparation of the annual report. So thank you very much. I move on to item 9. And monitoring standards of RE and collective worship in schools. I think this is an item that we really do need to develop, and I open it out now to everybody. If you have your ideas and working on the basis of Ian's expertise as well, how we propose moving forward with this. Ian.
Yep, it's just a quick one just to update people that this year was unusual in the fact that normally in October I would receive for Kingston upon Thames schools the data for RE provision in high schools. So in 11 to 16, 11 to 18 institutions, I would receive that automatically from the DFE. And this year, unfortunately, due to an error by an examination board, it wasn't released until after what would have been our spring meeting. So we haven't actually had it fully yet, but that should be with us by the mid to the end of October. It will also come out with the unverified GCSE and A-level data for the academic year 2024-25. So one of the aims we'll be able to do in the autumn term meeting is, if it's after October, towards the end of October, I will be able to present to colleagues the data that's been garnered from schools in terms of the amount of percentage curriculum time given to RE from year 7 to 13 where appropriate. So that will be available to the SACRE in the autumn term to help with your monitoring of standards in terms of RE. The Kingston agreed syllabus for RE does actually say that in order to fulfill the requirements of this one, and Helen and I spoke about this actually last Monday, is the fact there is 5% curriculum time. Now that's based on the 1994 recommendations of Ron Deering, but it's not enforceable through law. It can simply only be a recommendation. However, when I come to my report shortly, I'll be able to update on that one. But it is that there will be some quantifiable data available to SACRE members in the autumn term for the amount of RE being taught in high schools within the borough. So that's one area we'll be able to have in the next 4 months. So 3 to 4 months. That will be available. I'll be able to pass that on to the SACRE at our meeting in the autumn term.
Okay. Thank you, Ian, for that. Was there any other contributions anybody else wanted to bring to the table about how we are going to monitor and assess schools? I think this is an item that I think we're still thinking about. We're still thinking about, and we'll, Simon. Sorry, you're on mute, Simon.
Apologies. I don't know if it's related to assessment, but it might be useful to know, for example, how many children are taking up the GCSE, sorry, not the GCSE,
Yeah.
but the GCSE in religious education in each school. That might give us an indication how popular it is, for example.
Yeah.
In the data we receive in October, and as I say, this year it was very much delayed because one of the examination boards had a legal challenge over its data, but it will in the autumn we'll know exactly the number of children who are entered a full course and short course GCSE in each school. So you will have that data from the DFE. It comes from their data team. We get that. The data also goes into the local authority. So we will be able to present that to you in the autumn term. We've not had it, as I say, for last year because of issues with validity and reliability of data that was presented to the DFE.
Will you get the grades as well, Ian?
Yeah, we get the breakdown of every grade for every. We get the breakdown of grades 4 to 9, which is a standard pass through to a grade 2, obviously the grade 9. But we will also get. We can also access data from the exam boards on the number of grades U all the way through to grade 9 for each local authority. So that data will come through in the spring term, not the autumn term, but we'll have that very much more focused data later on from the DFE itself.
Okay. Thank you, Ian. Rachel. Sorry, Rachel, you're on mute. It's okay.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. Sorry, I clicked it, but it didn't go through. I just wonder if when we have that data in the autumn, which I really look forward to seeing actually in terms of a year on, whether we can also, as part of that discussion, pick up on our last meeting's point about whether we want to consider doing a survey similar to the one that was carried out by the Richmond SACRE, and do some follow-up work of our own in conjunction with that data that comes through, if other members think that would be interesting.
Do we agree with that? Perhaps coming up with a survey ourselves?
I don't know whether through Helena, whether we can get a copy of the Richmond SACRE survey that they looked at sort of teaching hours and follow up, and then there was some guidance, I believe, that we supported with about sort of good quality RE, and I think it would just be worth seeing that and reminding ourselves of that to see if that's something that would be pertinent and useful for this group to do as well.
Helena, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I wasn't actually part of SACRE when they did it, but I'm happy to ask the clerk.
Yeah, that would be good.
And see if it can be shared. And Ian, you might have even been part of those conversations there and then.
Yeah, I have been, but I also work with Hammersmith and Fulham SACRE, and we've actually also sent out a survey to schools. And I'm sure that Mark Newton, who is on the SACRE, will quite happily let me share that with you, so that shouldn't be an issue. We sent something out as a Google form that schools have completed, so I can share that in preparation for the next meeting. I'm sure Mark will not have an issue with that, and neither will Georgina at the local authority, so I don't think there'll be an issue there at all. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tim.
Hi. This I'm not sure if this is the appropriate place to just query and just put something within the mix, and I think Ian's expertise will probably be the to call on at this point. But obviously, one of the challenges we always have is engagement and connection with secondary schools within Kingston. Maybe that's a common theme throughout SACREs in the country, but Again, shoot me down or correct me if this is not an option, but is there a way of possibly inviting maybe a couple of heads of departments, coordinators to these meetings as one-offs, partly to showcase their work, good practice, and for them, and for a little bit more meaningful engagement with SACRE, with the local schools?
I mean, if you want to answer that one, Tim, it's very interesting that actually that's how I started in my role. So in 1996, I was a newly appointed head of RE in a school in Burnley, and I was co-opted as the secondary school member of Lancashire SACRE, and the SACRE decided, exactly as you just said, to have the voice of a teacher there. And that began my long journey as an RE advisor for the local authority and then for the DFE. So it is something that if the SACRE wants to do within the co-opted members and it's in the constitution, you would be able to do that. But it is actually, Tim, a national issue of secondaries engaging in any form of RE work at the moment. There are changes afoot, which I'll talk about shortly, but we do know for secondary schools to engage at the moment is actually quite difficult. And I don't think it's something that is unusual to the Kingston upon Thames SACRE, but a number of SACREs and a number of other national institutions are having issues engaging with the secondary colleagues.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may, I'd like to now move to item 10 of the agenda, which is the RE award. That's in your appendix D. I am going to ask Helena if you would like to tell us an update where we are with that, please.
Yeah, and Rachel, do jump in at any point. So Rachel and I were tasked with having a look at the RE award off the back of a previous meeting. I think Roy was the last one we had, but I couldn't tell you. So we got together and did some work, and one of Rachel's other colleagues at the diocese, who was in Richmond SACRE, joined us as well, which was great to have some more heads and some other kind of another thought partner. So we made a couple of iterations to the kind of paperwork ultimately that kind of introduces and sits alongside the award. There is nothing absolutely huge and groundbreaking that's kind of that needs huge attention, but I will give you some time in a minute to kind of have a look through it and obviously to raise any questions. I think really the kind of the main difference was around historically, you may remember there was a section A, which they had to have, I think, and Rachel, this is where you might have better memory than me, all of the aspects of section A and then some of section B. And we just made it into like, you just need to do all of these things. So we got rid of a few of the section Bs that we didn't think were quite as relevant in the kind of current kind of curriculum kind of landscape. And very much just had it as kind of, you just need to do all of these things. And we added in a column that sort of says things we all want to see, and then things that you may have alongside, being really mindful of teacher workload and not kind of generating extra production of kind of paperwork or bits and pieces. But very much that this is just stuff that you should already have. If you have other stuff, that's lovely. But we don't want extra things to be kind of produced to try and avoid that slightly permutation. And the other aspect that we kind of thought hard about whilst we were working on it was about kind of where the award sits within the within the kind of other awards that are out there. So there was that question about why would people do this RE award ultimately, because it says on page on D2, for example, you know, there is also a nationally recognised REQM, and so we really wanted to bring through the local within the award and consider how this is a reflection of really great local RE, really reflective of you know, where we are in Kingston and potentially Richmond, depending on kind of whether Richmond also kind of adapt their RE award accordingly. And really make that really kind of clear and sing through about it being a celebration of great local RE in Kingston. Rachel, anything I've missed, forgotten? not said clearly.
No, that's great. Thank you for that summary, Helena. I think it was really, as you say, it was just about reviewing and refreshing where we thought it was necessary, either in relation to the process to make it as straightforward as possible, not just for the school, but for the assessor, and to ensure it didn't have an inspectorial feel. It was a professional dialogue with colleagues. And then, yes, sort of just clarity for schools around those key areas of curriculum, CPD, time allocation curriculum, but all areas that we feel that schools, you know, good schools will have some strengths in already, and they can, it's about sharing that evidence and impact with the assessor rather than creating things for the award. But it would be really, yeah, really useful to hear any feedback from colleagues. Thank you.
I open it up to others. Would you like to add any comments? Well, it's a wonderful piece of work. Thank you both for what you've been doing. I look forward to hearing how this progresses. So thank you very much for your contributions there. I move on to item 11, the school's faith walk. Now, this was pretty much started at the same time of redeveloping the award, but with changing how we manage our meetings, it kind of took a bit of a back seat. So I would like to take this opportunity to relaunch that initiative. And I know, Karen, you were interested. Could I just see an indication now of those that would be interested in taking this forward? So I have Rachel and Karen. Yeah, Karen as well. Okay. I'll be in touch shortly, Rachel and Karen, where we can really get this one rolling. So a faith walk, the idea, I think, was kind of taken from Wandsworth, where 3 places of worship come together to give a presentation for schools. So schools years 5 and 6 of primary school age and even younger can go from one place of worship to the other and have a presentation, a very kind of open question and answer discussion. It's a fantastic idea, and I think we could definitely replicate the same effect for Kingston with our places of worship. It would mean that primary school children would have hands-on experience. They'd have the opportunity to walk from each place of worship, given that they would be in close proximity of one another. And we could have one for Surbiton area. There's the different places of worship there. And depending on the success of that, then we could move that to other areas within Kingston, might be North Kingston, for example. So thank you, and I shall definitely be in touch about that. Was there any other comments? In that case, I'll move to item 12, RE Today update. If we have a look at Appendix E, please, in your pack. And I'm going to ask Ian again to provide us with a SACRE update, please. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Yes, you'll have noticed in the report, the first item I've put in is the curriculum assessment review, which is on the minds of many at the moment in schools. I've outlined there the NATRE have continued to meet with Becky Francis and the curriculum assessment review. And it's interesting that of the 12 members of the curriculum assessment review, 2 are RE specialists. So I did read quite a lot into that one, as you would do. 2 of them have also, it's really interesting that actually of the report, and there's a hyperlink in my own report for you to read the interim report of the curriculum assessment review. We're one of only 2 subjects mentioned, so only RE and religion and sex education, they are 2 subjects mentioned by name, which does show that the department are really keenly looking at RE. There are very wide discussions, and Becky Francis has made it very clear that she is willing to ask DFE to change legislation, because at the moment, if necessary, RE is a basic curriculum subject. But if we were to become a national curriculum subject, then that would require a change in the legislation. And it's been made clear by the Curriculum Assessment Review that nothing is off the table in terms of RE. The one thing we are hearing in terms of that is that it would not be a national curriculum as such as we would know it in other subjects. It would be actually around much more locally determined as we are now, but that agreed syllabus conferences and agreed syllabuses should therefore meet up with a national content standard, so that actually there was a standard of what an agreed syllabus would be and what information it would contain, because at the moment we don't have that. So for the 152 local authorities with SACREs, they can all have their own individual agreed syllabuses, and there are, for example, similarities now between the Richmond syllabus and the Kingston-upon-Thames syllabus, but the idea is they are different in the way they approach RE. However, the aim is to find a commonality that all syllabuses, including diocesan syllabuses and other faith-based syllabuses for other faith schools, i.e. Sikh schools, Muslim schools, would then be used to monitor the standard of it. Because one of the concerns that's come through from CAR in terms of RE is because there's no national standard for RE, schools are interpreting what RE is for themselves, often loosely based on the agreed syllabus. And we do know, for example, that academies do not have to follow their locally agreed syllabus. They can choose their own. So some of the discussions around the subject being national curriculum would then require academies, and academies do have in their funding arrangements that they have made a legal commitment to teach RE to every pupil in their school, subject to the right to withdrawal. So we do know that there are discussions around how this would support SIAMS inspections. So Rachel know all about SIAMS inspections, how it would support Catholic Inspection Service inspections, how it would support Section 5 and Section 8 inspections in schools as well. But it would also then enable initial teacher training to have a standard by which to train RE teachers against. So I did my training in 1994, when we literally only just got the concept of an agreed syllabus really in people's minds. But it would also then enable curriculum providers, and we know, for example, that primary schools, a lot of primary schools are using schemes of learning. It would enable those to be then seen as being high quality and have a standard against which to meet. Now, I met with the Curriculum Assessment Review last Tuesday, and it was very interesting that they've said that they wouldn't comment on individual subjects. What they did say, however, is that they would be looking at each subject in turn and making individual recommendations on each subject, not only at key stages 1, 2, 3 and early years, but also at GCSE and A level, because they feel the curriculum at key stage 4 and 5 in all subjects is too heavy. It's too much to teach, and students in schools are not getting the depth of understanding of religious and non-religious worldviews that they would be needed to do so. The overriding message, though, that I'm getting from the Curriculum Assessment Review, and I met with John Hutchinson on the 28th of April, is that it's about personal knowledge is really going to be important. And he's actually said that children need to see themselves in the curriculum. So it's very much around reflecting your own school, your own area, the national and the international picture, but really starting with the child's experience. One thing that did come out of my meeting last Tuesday is, yes, there is the interim report, but what's more important to read is the concept thinking document that's also on the hyperlink that I've put forward, that gives more indication of the direction of travel of the Curriculum Assessment Review going forward. We are therefore expecting, and it was really interesting to hear a civil servant say this, and they said, in the civil service speak, we're going for an autumn report. So whatever that means, I've no idea. So that means autumn can stretch a bit further than what I would regard autumn actually as being. But we do know at that point, the report will then come through. The members of the committee of the curriculum review are meeting with subject associations as we speak. That was the meeting I was at last week on behalf of the subject association for RE. So that's the big area of development at the moment. What we have said is it will be incremental. It won't be a revolutionary big bang new curriculum. It will be over time, because there is concern about teachers' workload going forward. And that was rather nice to hear from the DFE as well in my meeting with them on Tuesday. That it's not going to be change everything at once, but it will be over time. So we really are looking at what the curriculum assessment review are going to put forward about RE. And in October, in the autumn term, we'll have more to say about that one. But it will be interesting to see what recommendations that are made to ministers, because ministers will have the final say on the changes. They have said it will still be a knowledge-rich curriculum, which is what we have at the moment as well. And we do know from Hazel Henson, who is the HMI for RE, and from the meeting I went to last Tuesday, that the forms of knowledge which are included within the guidance section of the Kingston Agreed syllabus, so the green guidance section of the back, section 5, the substantive knowledge, ways of knowing and personal knowledge will not change. They will stay the same for the subjects, and that will be the same for diocesan schools, maintained schools, academies, and other schools. So the ways of knowing are not going to change in RE. So that's one of the updates we've had. Also moving forward, the RE hubs, and Stacey Berman is your RE hub lead in London, is offering training. Now it's finished this year, but she's offering training from September for anybody who wants to go into school to talk to children about faith, about their belief, or whether it be a religious belief or a non-religious belief. So she's offering that training to members of SACREs in London. And that will cover things like DBS checks, ensuring that you understand about being left alone with children. It will also talk about appropriateness in presentation, and will also support with getting the voice of the religions and non-religious worldviews into school. So Stacey's really pushing that one forward at the moment. A new one to add is that all the BBC videos for Key Stages 1 and 2 are being reviewed now for RE. So at the moment, there are 177 videos, and they are all being reviewed for alteration over the next term. So hopefully by January, they'll all be redone. Just a quick aside, I've watched 177 videos to start the commentary on them. So that was an interesting part of my life. Took me right back to doing early years when watching early years videos. That was really, really good. We also have in the update as well that, the BBC are going to be putting out some more programs next year for RE alongside that one. So they're also looking at Key Stages 3 and 4 at the moment. So the support for schools from the BBC is going forward and is being brought more in line with the substantive knowledge, the ways of knowing, and personal knowledge. So it matches up with more curricula or curriculums around the country as well. Also within the report, I've mentioned areas around as well, the work of SACRE, and also that SACRE training will be on offer for SACREs who are members of SACRE from next September, which will also include the SACRE conference, which this year was held in Stratford, where they spoke about the religion and worldviews approach. Because one thing the curriculum assessment reviewer said, they're not going to be talking about how we teach, they're going to be talking about what we teach. So actually, and I've mentioned before, I trained in 1994. For RE people in the room, I trained under Michael Grimmett's idea of AT1 and AT2. That disappeared a while ago. I'm loving the fact Rachel's laughing there. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So there are many approaches to RE at the moment. Curriculum assessment review probably will not tell us which one they will go with, but they will talk about what a standard will be for RE in terms of high quality provision. Also in the report, I've mentioned the BBC Pilgrimage series. There are materials there for schools to use that, and also the annual Spirited Arts competition from the National Association of Teachers of RE is ongoing at the moment. So my colleague Angela, who is the director of NATRE, is booking her days in to do the judging in the summer terms. That's something that schools can be working on and to get those in as well. Also within the report, we've got this idea I've put in as well. Jerusalem Trust grants are reopening again in September. So schools can apply for up to £600 for resources to support the teaching of Christianity And we do know that school budgets are quite tight at the moment. So I think a number of schools would really want to do that. So that's the update from SACRE and NATRE. Hopefully that was okay for you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you for that. I would also like to point out as well that there's free training for new members to SACRE, the SACRE offer. And it's the 24th of June. I would definitely say that the training is very extensive. And also as well, World Humanist Day, a wealth of resources there to share for those of you that are in school. And as well, one of the courses that they offer, help, I'm an RE subject leader, just to kind of pad out your wealth of knowledge there. So thank you very much. Thank you, Ian, for that. I'd like to move to item 13, agenda 13, members updates. Would any members like to update with what's going on for them, please? Who's raised that? I think that's Rachel. Yes. Hi, Rachel. I haven't got your sound.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry about that. Can you see me? Because I've got a very...
It's a bit blurry, but we can hear you.
You've got the outline. I just wanted to say that the school visits are really going strong. We've got lots of bookings and we've had lots of schools who have come and spent a very productive morning or afternoon at the synagogue. So just want to promote that really. And perhaps with the faith walks, that could be something that we can link in.
Absolutely.
With the visits. So that's it. Just really, if you know of any school who haven't been, would like to. I know the Kingston Liberal Synagogue in Long Ditton also do tours, and we're not in competition. Come to us or go to them, whatever. But I think there's been a lot of positive feedback, which we're really happy to hear.
Thank you, Rachel. I think you've had the doors open to the synagogue for many years, and certainly when I was teaching in Kingston, you know, the children thoroughly enjoyed visiting the synagogue. So thank you. I move to item 14. Thank you. I move to item 14.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sharma Khan.
Oh, sorry. My apologies, Sharma.
Hi. In the previous network meeting that we had in person, we went to visit other schools. Some of the teachers, I don't know if Helena can help with this, and I said I'd feed it back to SACRE. They were asking if there's some sort of, you know, there's Padlet for other subjects. They're wondering whether it's something that can be, you know, create, like, can this be done within Kingston for teachers in RE so everyone can share resources, because I think we had 9 schools. Actually Rachel was there as well, and they wanted to share the resources and ideas everyone had, but they felt like there wasn't anything where we could all come together as Kingston for RE, whereas this was happening in English and other subjects.
Thank you. Helena.
We do have a shared drive for RE in the way that we have for other subjects. It's across Kingston and Richmond because that's how AFC operates. And the syllabuses are now pretty much aligned, aren't they? And therefore there wouldn't be any kind of discrepancy there. So they do exist. Ian shared the QR codes in the networks previously, but we can definitely make sure they're on slides for all the networks next year. And it's very much, you know, we're trying to get teachers to share as much as possible across the boroughs to reduce workload. So we are absolutely up for it. And the files are there ready to be filled with stuff. We just don't have people filling them with stuff. But yeah, absolutely.
You. All the teachers that were there had no idea about it.
Where were they? Where was this?
This was held at King's Oak, so it was all like the local schools. So
Oh, was your
um,
cluster meeting?
yes, cluster meeting. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, so we don't have anything to do with cluster meetings.
Yeah, but what I mean is
So
the
we
teachers
can
weren't aware of
absolutely.
it. So if we, yeah,
But yeah, if you drop me an
really
email, I can
appreciate
send you
that.
the link.
Thank you so
But
much.
Ian has shared them on his slides previously as well, so you'll have access to them there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I said that I would feed it back in the next meeting. So
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Helena, I'm also wondering, could that be shared via heads as well, that they could could pass on to
Yeah,
their
so we
RE
shared them.
leaders?
Yeah, I mean, being completely candid, like we share them with everyone. Everyone says they want to share it, but then it's really nerve-wracking for people to upload their work. And so there's a lot of appetite for it, but until I think we reach a point of kind of that tipping point, people are nervous to be the first ones to put their stuff in there and for it to go out there. So yeah, heads know about them, curriculum leaders know about them. They're out there waiting to be filled up, and there are bits and pieces in there. But they're a central part of all of our subject networks across Kingston and Richmond. And it's just going to take a bit of time, I think, to shift, to gain a bit of culture of error ultimately across our schools in that respect.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. If we move to item 14, the forward plan, if you wouldn't mind having a peruse of the dates there in terms of what we aim to achieve and have achieved. Were there any member comments with regarding that item? No. Okay, I shall move on to item 15. We have agreed some dates, or we have a suggestion of dates for our next meeting and venue. The October-November 25, the Guildhall Complex. So we've got some dates here, if you could have a look at, and I think maybe the best way forward, how would you propose that we do this? Shall I just call out the dates and show of hands?
Maybe, yeah, I could introduce the little bit on this. Members, when I circulated the agenda, I have mentioned that for the first meeting, the annual meeting in October and November, I have included some dates that because it will be held at the Guildhall, so I have first make sure that those days are available, the Guildhall is available for our in-person meeting. I was just may I just wish to check if there are any specific days. I go through them one by one. These the 6 days that I mentioned in the email, which I would read one by one, and then I like to check whether there are objections or you are definitely unavailable for that particular date, so that we could narrow down a little bit about the days, and then maybe I would use an email to reconfirm with everybody on the day. So, Chair, do you agree that I could take this approach?
Yes, I think so. I mean, our meetings generally tend to be a Monday, but Herman has offered other days as well. So I think if I just go through Monday, the 20th of October, if you have a show of hands, if that's for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So if any member definitely cannot make it, let us know that we will then skip that. But Chair, that for October, yeah, because I now know that you have a preference for Monday.
Well, it seems to have worked for Monday. Does anybody have any objections for it being happening on a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like Monday. And the dates for November, well, it's Wednesday, Thursday. We've got Monday the 10th. So I think all hand raised. Okay.
Yeah, is that Ian?
Yeah. 3 more have raised.
Any member who are unable to do the 10th of November, which is a Monday, let me know.
No.
Councillor Hope, you are happy with the day suggested, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Farian.
Yeah. So it looks like Monday the 20th.
Yeah, it seems that those
Yeah.
two will work. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe for the next, I would because there are still 1 or 2 member who could not attend today. I'll double check whether they could also do the two Mondays, and then reconfirm with you as soon as possible.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Herman. The February dates, we often we follow out our tradition of place of worship or a school. Could anybody host for any of those? So Rachel,
Yes,
Rachel, the synagogue
is showing. Yep.
Thank you, Rachel. That's very kind.
It would depend. Can you hear me? Am I on mute?
Yes.
It would depend which Monday it was, because we hold certain things on the 1st, and I think every other Monday, every other month. So if you could send me some dates and I can check the diary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. And then the June and July next year will be online for our next meeting then.
Yeah, so I suggest we revisited this in February.
Do you want to say that?
Yes, Chair, thank you. For the date of the online meeting in June or July, I suggest that we revisit this issue again in February. When I will have a clearer picture of some council meetings at that point of time. I will have a more clarity on some of the activities happening, so that I could also make myself available. So we would for that one, I will revisit it. I will make some options and let members revisit and make a decision in February.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Herman. I move to item 16, urgent items. We don't have any urgent items at the moment. So that just leaves me now to close the meeting. Firstly, to thank all of you for your attendance tonight, and as well to those online. And I look forward to seeing you further down in the year. So have a lovely evening. Enjoy the heat for the rest of the week. And thank you very much. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.